Let's get right on into it because I know what the people want to know and they want to hear about this. You survived domestic violence with your ex-husband, R&B singer R. Kelly. Now, I wanted to know because was the relationship toxic from the beginning? And if not, when did it take a turn? A lot of times it's easy to see when you're at the end. You're like, oh yeah, he did do this in the beginning, but I didn't think of it like that at the time. So how was it for you?
I will say this, all relationships where there's domestic violence, be it physical, emotional, sexual, is toxic from the beginning. You just don't know it. That's the problem. Because the charming man and the cunning man are the same. And as women, we're not even taught to know the difference, because the charming man's going to take you to dinner, tell you how beautiful you are. He's going to dote on you. He wants you to meet his mom, and he believes that you can change his life. And so is the cunning man. The difference is the context behind why he's doing what he's doing. So a lot of women, we get in these relationships and we think, oh, he's so sweet, he's so great, he's so this, he's so that, but we don't know that we're meeting his representative, because behind that man is a monster. So for all women, no one really knows in the beginning, and especially when you come from my background, I often say we're all branch, leaf, fruit, root. We're all a tree. And you have to know what's at the root of your tree to know why you bear the fruit that you do. And what was at the root of my tree is my grandfather was a Baptist preacher, but he was also the first man I ever saw beat a woman. And it wasn't so much what my grandfather did that changed me, because I accepted that he was a monster. It's what my grandmother didn't do that changed me. Because the very next day, she got up and made that man breakfast like nothing ever happened. Like, my grandmother was so elegant, and what she taught me about abuse is you deal with it as a lady of grace. You have to understand that my grandmother was also the first lady. So she's sitting in a pulpit covering her bruises, while my grandfather is up in the pulpit. And it's like the same hands that you are taking to christen babies and cast out demons are the same ones that you use to whoop ass. Monday through Saturday, you are hell on wheels, but Sunday, you're an archangel. So I was taught at a very young age that God, love, and pain were one. So fast forward, I'm in an abusive relationship. It's not foreign to me. That's what I grew up seeing. And I was taught again by my grandmother that you're just a lady of grace through it. You don't air your dirty laundry. And my grandfather taught me that if a man of the cloth is abusive, certainly a man of the world is. So no, my ex was not foreign to me. His behavior was not foreign to me. It was like, oh, this is what you do. So a lot of people probably start that way. If it's not directly, if they're children of abuse, growing up in a household where they're seeing abuse, when they get in these toxic relationships, it's not foreign.
I feel like I want to cry listening to you right now because everything you're saying is so real and so honest. And anyone that has been abused or been touched by a man and hurt by a man is probably feeling the same way that I am right now. And I really need society, especially other women. When a woman comes out, I don't give a fuck if it's 10, 20, 30 years after it happened. You don't know what her reason is to keep her mouth shut during the time that she did. And when she did, can we stop criticizing women and say, why'd you wait 5 years? Why'd you wait 10 years? You're a gold digger. You're trying to do this. No one says anything about carrying on your life as a lady or not letting, especially Black women. It's so complex for us, right? We don't want people to think we're weak and we got to be strong. I got this. Or we've seen this happen in a household before. I've seen my mom get hurt. You've seen your grandma get hurt. And like when people want to criticize, and it pisses me off to no end, when people attack the woman that comes forward for, why are you saying it now? And if you would have said it then, it'd have been an issue. Like, it's always never going to be the right time, especially if they rock with God. And it's so irritating to me. So, like,
yeah, I feel you. I feel you, Claudia. My thing is, and I put it on my Instagram, and if people follow me, go on my page and you will find it. I have a quote that I created, and my quote says, there's no expiration date on your story and no time limit on your healing, period. Because people have to understand, if you've been in it for 10, 20, 30 years, it's probably going to take you just as long to come out of it to be whole. And you don't owe anybody else an explanation to why you did what you did when you did what you did. Because here's the thing, how am I going to voice what I'm going through when I haven't found my voice? How do I come out and be this powerful woman when I feel completely powerless? It is a process that you have to go through. You have to even go through the process of forgiving yourself for even allowing another human being to do what they did to you. Then you have to go through the process of Forgiving your abuser so that you don't become the angry, jaded Black woman who neck spinning and lip popping. Now everybody thinks you're the angry Black woman. We don't even give grace for, we have to put ourselves, speaking about the ones who've been abused, we have to put ourselves back together. Not to mention, and this is a lot of shade and a lot of grease for y'all out there who want to talk about me when there's children involved. You have to understand that we have a legal system that is in place that will let a mother like me walk into court and say, well, he hasn't done anything to the children. He has a right to see his children. So now you want me as his victim to make sure I facilitate visitation with this man, but you guys are not taking into accountability when there's pick up and drop off. What if that's the one time that he decides he's done and he's gonna kill everybody, but he has a right to see his kids? So there's more to it. I have to also protect my children, and my children, unfortunately, were exposed to not just their mom being abused. Before I came out, they had to deal with the stories of pedophilia with their father. That's too much to put on young children that don't even understand what's going on. So I couldn't come forward until I knew my children could handle it. And anybody that has a problem with that, unfortunately, I don't give a fuck that you have a problem with it anymore. I was very sensitive about it at one time, but I did have to realize that God knows the truth. It's not up to me to prove my truth and prove my journey to not damn motherfucker on the face of this earth. That's number one. Number two, you talking about me coming forward and why I'm doing it, and she's a gold digger and she didn't say anything because she wanted money. Now she's saying something because she wants money. That's a reflection of you, because that's the last thing on my mind. So for you to think, it means that's something that you would do, because that's the last thing I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking, how do I save people's lives? There's so many women out here who have been victims, and they've been silent victims. And for me, I got to a point, Claudia was like, I cannot not say anything anymore. Seeing his victims on TV, seeing Geronda Pace, I was like, hold on. Her story is identical to mine, and we don't even know each other, but no one's paying attention. And guess why they're not paying attention? Because my name is not Hannah. I'm not blonde hair and blue eyed and live in the suburbs. Because if I was a white woman coming forward, you best believe it would have taken one time and the whole nation would have rallied behind her to lock his Black ass up. But because it's a Black woman, all of a sudden I'm trying to bring down a Black man. Actually, it's the complete opposite. I'm trying to make this Black man see you have to take ownership. You have to want your healing. You have children that are watching you do this thing called life. You have to right your wrongs. And I love you enough to not be another yes man on your camp. I love you enough to not sit around and collect checks and let you do the crazy shit that you're doing. As long as you're doing concerts, I'm getting paid. I don't care. Somebody had to love him enough to say, you know what? Enough. Stop. Get help. You need to right your wrongs. And if I had to be the one to do it, if y'all want to talk about me, if you want to say whatever you got to say, that's fine with me too.
I wish I had some tea to sip right now, but I don't have a cup of tea. That was very hot, piping, steaming hot tea. Now your ex, and thank that you just said so much, like you just said it so perfectly. And I feel your passion, and I believe you 100%. I need people to stop victimizing the victim for speaking out against their abusers. And speaking of abusers, your ex-husband, R. Kelly, is currently in jail awaiting trial for his sex crimes and obstruction of justice. Do you believe the charges against him?
I do. True? I do, because I went through it. How could I not? I do. And people want to say, oh, I remember back when she did an interview. Well, you have to understand, back then he had an entire team. There was a whole world going on that I had no idea about. People need to be very clear in this. And let me set everybody straight, since I'm on here with my girl, I can do this today, because most interviews, I can't speak freely like this. At the end of the day, you have accountants, you have managers, you have record companies, you have promoters that are promoting concerts. All these people are rallying for him to make it and be okay. So we're doing whatever we got to do on the back end to make shit go away, paying people off, getting rid of shit. Do y'all honestly think that they pick up a phone and call me and say, well, Drea, we have 3 of Robert's victims that we're going to pay, and we just want to know, are you okay with the amount that we're giving them? Hell no, they don't do that. Shit is being done behind my back, and there's a team to help him do it. Just like there's a team that helps get hotel rooms. There's a team that helps book flights. There's a team that go pay mamas and daddies. Yes. So let's be real clear today that me coming forward, I was very clear. It's not Drea just coming forward and it's my ex-husband and the father of my children. I'm coming forward and I got record labels who want me to be quiet. You have security that works for him. He wants me to be quiet because when he's not working, they're not getting paid. Accountants that want you to be quiet. So I feel like it was me against the world when I came.
Yeah, it literally was. And on top of that, the fans. Now, I want to ask one question. I know we don't have you that. I need an hour with you, girl. I need you to come back.
I'm gonna come back, boo.
How much blame do you place on the parents of the victims? Do you think do you think they were being fooled as well, or do you think they were complicit in their daughters getting abused?
You know, because my parents went through it, and there was an article in the Chicago Sun-Times that Mary Mitchell did where my parents literally did go to the police, and they went to the Sun-Times like, we cannot get in contact with our daughter. We're trying to reach her, not knowing at this time, like, these girls are not lying, changing your cell phone numbers. He's paying all the bills. You're staying in the house. Like, I came to a point where I realized this big palatial estate that we're staying in and this mansion that we're staying in with this big gate, that gate was not to keep fans out. That gate was not to keep crazy people out. That was to keep me locked in. So it is, when I say it's so dark that there are no words and there's probably not enough time to even explain, because in one sense, you are being forced by your abuser to even tell your parents that you don't want anything to do with them, so that you can get them off of his back, so that he looks like the good guy, that it's you making the decisions, that you don't want to talk to your parents, that you don't want to be around friends and family. But if anybody knows anything about abuse, that's a part of the abuse. It's the alienation. It's the keeping you away from your friends and family. It's controlling the finances, controlling where you go, what you do, what you wear. But then as the victim, you're like, I have to put on this happy face because I don't want the world to know how horrible this really is. Because guess what comes with that? Judgment. Oh, she's stupid. Oh, that'll never be me. Oh, the first time a man put his hands on me, that'll be the end. So you put on this front because then you don't want the judgment, and you don't want people looking at you going, well, she done for staying. I had 3 kids. He's in control of all the money. My name's not on any of the bank accounts. Where am I going with 3 children and no money?
I think, Drea, so many people right now, they may have not been married to R&B superstars, but they've been married to abusers, and they are feeling what you were saying. And before we go, I just want to quickly mention you're starring in VH1's Hollywood Exes that is coming up.
Yes.
I love the cast, and I am so excited. And before we go, I want to also say, if you are a victim of domestic violence, it's never too late to get help. Please contact 1-800-799-7233 for more information. Drea, we're going to have you back for part 2, my dear, because you just got too many gems. Like, I was like, and I love that you had an uninterrupted platform to just say what you needed to say. Because I know that's a very frustrating part about being a victim, especially against someone that's a celebrity or whatever. Nobody wants to hear. They want to hear from him. They just automatically assume their fave is not guilty. So I love you, and I'm so happy to see you. And we definitely, and I'm proud of you, girl. I really am.
Well, one survivor to listen.
Yeah.
I got you, boo. I know what it's like, and I know what it's like for us to sit in that seat. You know, it's not only hard when they're a celebrity, but when you're trying to figure out your own platform and who you are, it's hard. That's even harder as a Black woman trying to do it. But I'll be back because, yeah, we need to have this forum. We need to have this real raw discussion. And I'm honored to do it with my sister friend, because thank you for giving me the time, the place, the space, but making me feel safe enough to say what I have to say.
Anytime, that's real. Yeah. I want to thank Drea Kelly for joining me tonight and dropping all those gems and being so open about her journey. And I need people to start believing the victims and stop making the excuses for the abusers.